Alright, let's get into it. Did you know the new Michael Jackson biopic Michael broke trailer and box office records and still somehow tiptoed around the biggest controversies? Like, tell me why the tea is scalding and selective at the same time. Hi, I'm Emma, and I'm feeling super intrigued today. We're talking pop legend mythology, family dynamics, and a studio PR flex that is honestly a total vibe and a big yikes all at once. So, let's talk. Michael is a 2026 biopic directed by Anton Fuqua and written by John Logan. It follows Michael Jackson from the Jackson 5 days through the start of the Bad Tour, so it's the rise and peak. Starring Jafar Jackson, Michael's nephew, as adult Michael, with Giuliano Cruvaldi, a newcomer, playing young Michael. The movie ends right before the first public allegations. Mark that endpoint. Let me set the scene. I'm a pop culture girly through and through. I grew up obsessed with the spectacle. I went to this Michael Jackson tribute show a few years back and thought, okay, nostalgia night, but the second the Billie Jean bass line hit, the whole room turned into a time machine. Strangers grabbing each other's hands, people doing their best moonwalk mid at first and then suddenly not. I remember the anticipation before lights up, the nervous buzz, then the performer hits that lean, the glove glints, and you realize, oh my god, the iconographic is a shared language. It's families, teens, grandparents, all vibing to the same beat. The show wasn't Michael, obviously, but the feeling was communal, goosebumps, weirdly tender. It reminded me that music like his isn't just entertainment, it's connective tissue across generations. So when Michael the film focuses on the early years, the art, the grind, the glow-up, I get why that choice lands for a lot of people. It's the part of the story that unites, not divides. Okay, let's move on. The film itself, Eli 5 version, a biopic, is a movie about a real person's life. This one is essentially the origin story. Jackson 5 in the late 1960s, signing to Motown in 1969, a move to Encino in the early 1970s, Off the Wall with Epic around 1978, Thriller exploding in the early 1980s, Motown 25 and the Moonwalk, and we close as the Bad Tour is about to kick off. Visually, it locks into era detail. Dion Beebe, the cinematographer, makes the stage lights and the crowds feel gigantic. Barbara Lang, the production designer, and Marcy Rogers, the costume designer, paint the decades in textures so you can practically smell the hairspray. Leo Rosner handles the score, which threads between the classic songs, Jackson 5 cuts, Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad, so it's built to make your heart race and your foot tap at the same time. Cast check. Jafar Jackson, Michael's nephew, anchors it. Critics said his performance was the standout, and it feels lived in. Giuliano Cruvaldi as Kid Michael captures that raw, almost frighteningly poised stage presence. Nia Long, who plays Katherine Jackson, brings warmth with steel. Coleman Domingo as Joe Jackson gives you the control and the cost. You feel the room tighten when he walks in. Miles Teller plays John Branca, Michael's attorney, as the get-it-done legal brain in the 80s, and the ensemble rounds out the ecosystem that built the phenomenon. Behind the curtain, Graham King, the producer, interviewed hundreds of people who knew Michael. That's a lot of receipts gathering. Kimberly Harden, the casting director, pulled together the lookalikes and vibe matches. Prince Jackson, Michael's son, served as an executive producer, so there's family perspective in the room. Final writing credit goes to John Logan, with off-screen literary material by Kenya Barris and Peter Saji, meaning they contributed even if not credited as full writers. Editors included Conrad Buff Ford, Tom Cross, John Ottman, and Harry Yoon, an all-star relay race in the cutting room. And yes, visual effects teams like Industrial Light and Magic and Synsight helped rebuild iconic moments, stage magic with a modern polish. Now, the spicy part. The film absolutely avoids the abuse allegations, and here's why that matters. Jordan Chandler, an accuser in 1993, had a settlement clause that forbids mentioning him in a film, so legally you can't touch that storyline by name. Early drafts apparently included that era. There were scenes with Derek Luke as Johnny Cochran that were cut. Fuqua, the director, said he was about to hand in his final cut and got told to alter it. Plus, estate involvement is not nothing. Variety reported the Jackson estate helped fund added costs in 2025. Some reports say reshoots were 22 days and ballooned the total budget into the $165 to $200 million range. Other reporting pegs the added costs at $10 to $15 million. Bottom line, the money and the legalities shape the story, not just the art. And family voices were not a monolith. Paris Jackson, Michael's daughter, had no involvement and called an early script sugar-coated. LaToya Jackson, his sister, said Janet declined to be included, and siblings like Janet, Randy, and Rebby don't appear. Kat Graham, who is set to play Diana Ross, got cut entirely due to legal reasons, and Diana Ross, for those younger listeners, is the Motown legend who was pivotal to that era. So, if the family tree feels pruned in the film, it is. Critics versus audiences. Let's dissect this for a sec. The Guardian lumped Michael with other sanitized musician biopics like Bohemian Rhapsody, Elvis, and Back to Black, arguing it celebrates and airbrushes. The Root countered that it's unfair to expect a movie about the early life to litigate the 90s and said people were ignoring the craft. Audiences spoke with their wallets and their scorecards. CinemaScore gave it an A-. Post-Track had 90% positive with 84% definite recommend. At the box office, opening day in the US South and Canada hit 39.5 million, the biggest opening day ever for a biographical film, even topping Oppenheimer. Opening weekend landed at 97 million domestically. Internationally, first days set records across dozens of countries. By year's end, it grossed about 278 million worldwide and sat as the fifth highest grossing film of 2026. So, sanitized or not, the public showed up. So here's my hot take. Should the allegations have been included? Yes, I think so. Even if just framed as the looming storm at the end, because context is part of legacy. Avoiding it makes the movie feel like a glittering museum without the back room. But I also get the legal chokehold. That settlement clause is a brick wall. The filmmakers clearly pivoted, saying the focus is on Michael becoming, quote, a superhero on the stage. Coleman Domingo said the goal was the rise and peak, and Nia Long basically teased a sequel for later life, so it feels strategic, not accidental. Do I love it? Kind of. Do I wish the art could breathe without lawyers in the room? Absolutely. Marketing moment. The teaser trailer in late 2025 did 116.2 million views in 24 hours, a Lionsgate record, and a record for musical biopic or concert film trailers. They leaned into nostalgia and performance recreations, especially Motown 25, the 1983 TV special where Michael unveiled the moonwalk. IMAX screenings added that big stage feel. IMAX is the mega screen format that makes your popcorn feel small. And the movie ends as the Bad Tour starts, the apex of global pop stardom, which gives the narrative a clean arc and room for a sequel. Lionsgate's Adam Fogelson said a sequel depended on response. Then it got greenlit, with Fuqua saying there's enough footage for later life. Of course there is. Two last bits that grabbed me. One, the Pepsi commercial accident in 1984 is in there. He was burned by a pyrotechnic spark, sued, and donated the settlement to the burn center that treated him. That's a humanity receipt. Two, the Beat It video moment. Michael reportedly brought real members of the Crips and Bloods together on set in the early 80s, enemies dancing shoulder to shoulder. The film shows the idea, message over mayhem. That's the kind of story that explains why people still cry when they hear Human Nature. It's not just hooks, it's hope baked into choreography. Okay, we covered a lot. Next time, I'm excited to spill the tea on another music icon's biopic that's stirring up buzz. Think legacy, lawsuits, and a soundtrack you already know by heart. So that's the tea, folks. Remember to keep your eyes peeled for those iconic moments and your brain on for the context behind them. Later!